Hello, friends. My name is Weston Hasty, and you're listening to Profoundish. I will be joined by my co-host, Alex Duquette, shortly, and we're going to talk about creative endeavors, things we're doing and have done differently. We're going to talk about, I think, pizza at some point in time, and then we're going to play some more Never Have I Ever later on in the show. I know, the arc, it continues. It cannot be stopped for never, ever, ever, never, ever. You're listening to Profoundish. There it is. Or was it? Was it there?
Whoop, there it was. it could be like a retrospective for Space Jam. It's like, whoop, there it was.
Oh, that's actually really good. Like if the new one, whatever it was called, if it was like really bad, you're just like watching it, you sit down like, well, whoop, there it was.
If I did video essays on YouTube, I would have done that.
You ever think about doing video essays about, like, I don't know, musical stuff or video games? Or you did the one about Jimmy Neutron.
You know, I've actually dabbled in it, and I don't want to dive into any details, but that's actually in a similar vein to what my big project is this year.
Ooh.
So that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I did the Jimmy Neutron one, and then I also did a Lost Media one, because I like to watch Lost Media videos.
That's right, you did do something like that. I remember.
It's funny. That was one of those really disappointing moments in my YouTube career. And the reason why I say that is because I loved making it. It was fresh. It was fun. It was Lost Media stuff. And it was still about similar stuff that I already make with my content, right? It was about Disney Channel characters and stuff like that. And it tanked, right? And I'm not surprised, but I think I still worked myself up so much because I loved it so much. I thought, oh, people are gonna find this. And it just, nobody did. And I don't regret what I made. I love what I made. It's just like you put all this time and energy into it. But that being said, yeah, I am thinking about doing some video essay-esque content. I don't know if we're going to leave this in the podcast or not, but maybe that could be a little hint as to what's to come.
Friends, and welcome to Profoundish. I am your host today, Weston Hasty, joined by Alex Duquette. Hey, Alex.
Hey, hello.
That was a long one. Blue.
Hey, thanks for having me on your podcast again.
Yeah, welcome. This is my podcast now.
I feel like I'm starting to become a regular on your show.
I think so. And then every other week, I'm like a regular on your show.
Yeah, we could look at it like that if you want.
It kind of is.
Hey, so have you ever thought about doing video essay style stuff?
I was going to dive into since we were just talking about it, I was going to dive into that a little bit with not specifically video essays, but just whenever you try to do something new on an established channel, that you ride that high of being excited to do something new, and then you have to ride that low of because it's new, no one was expecting you to do it, so no one watched it.
It's almost like a lesson never learned, because you and I both have been in the game long enough to know how statistically that's going to work, right? Like just in general. But you still get so emotionally attached that it still disappoints you a little bit. So
it does.
When it's just hard for your emotions not to get involved in that. But
it's really hard when the stuff that you put the most effort into gets lackluster attention, but then the stuff that you just literally chart out is just what everyone watches or enjoys.
I'll never forget. Listen, we've talked about it a million times, but your most viral video. You just cut together your stream, and look what it did.
It was, the hey, he's watching me, or whatever the heck I titled that video. It was just literally me coming back to TikTok. I made 2 TikToks ever when I first downloaded the app, many years ago now. And I was like, okay, this isn't really for me. Deleted the app, whatever. Came back to it years later, and I'm like, the 3rd TikTok I'm ever going to upload. I'm like, I should start doing a TikTok thing. You know what? I'll just put stream highlights or something up on here. And I had just recently done that Valentine's Day stream. I'm like, you know what? I've got a perfect moment for this. That moment where I'm watching my stream, watching my stream, watching my stream, watching my stream. We'll just put together a little bit of that. I found that segment in the stream. I had the footage for it. I took it, I started cutting it up and chopping it up, and I just started cutting up until I reached a minute long. I'm like, well, there's more to this clip, but like I'm out of time. I can only do a minute. Oh well, I've put enough time into this, just put it up there. And then it just freaking blew up. It was the third TikTok I'd ever made.
That is such a common story. That reminds me of the classic story about the band Deep Purple, who, if you know any song by them, you know Smoke on the Water, and which is like one of the most, it's like the quintessential classic rock riff song. And that was a throwaway song they had to fit on the threw on the album just to fill it out. Like, let's just throw this on there, whatever. Like, we have the hits already on here. Let's just throw this one on there to make it like enough songs. And then that ended up being like the song that everybody knows. It's the same thing. I don't know why I have all these random music nuggets, but the same thing happened with Coldplay with Clocks. The da 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 da. Like, once again, one of their biggest songs.
Yeah, one of their biggest
throwaways.
hits.
Like, and like, it was just like, you know what? Let's just throw it on there. See what happens. Like, this is from their voices. This saying this was supposed to be a nothing song, like a filler song, and then it ends up being. So maybe there's something to that, right? I don't know. I don't know what that is, but
it's not like that happens every time you make something you don't care about, right? So that's what's so weird about it. I know, not video it wasn't video essays. I tried to do a thing on my channel called the Magic Man Mo Monday Show. One, that's a lot of M's, so the alliteration, then Mo Show, it rhymes. I don't know. It was a good title, and it was like a sort of news type show thing that I was going to do like weekly. So I wasn't doing video essays, but I was doing this sort of like Monday show thing that was like a real departure from like Let's Playing video games and stuff. But it was still kind of like in the video game space and just talking about whatever's going on, basically. And it took a lot of effort to make those. So kind of like maybe your essays that you made, it took a lot more effort compared to what I was used to doing, like a lot more hours, different scene changes, even though I was just kind of green screening the scenes, but different scene changes. I had different costume changes, weirdly enough, in the early days of that. It was a whole thing.
What era was this? What year was this? Is what I was trying to ask.
That's a good question. It was in the before days, before the pandemic.
Right.
Magic Man Mo Monday Show.
I wonder if I can get this vaguely, but
this is like in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a long time ago, and I had several ideas for it, and it was kind of like a news type thing. It was a news/channel updates thing that I could do like every week. Now, I suspect that probably would have only had a lifespan of only so long before I'm like, well, I'm not really keeping up with the news. Like I was more into the news back then. Nowadays, I have no idea what's going on. I don't keep up. Yeah. So Lord knows how long that would have lasted anyway. And then also I don't have that many channel updates to keep updated with. But the point is the 13 or so episodes of that I did took a lot of time and effort, and I try to make them really good, but they significantly didn't do as well as just my usual content. So eventually I was kind of like, well, you're looking at it like, well, if I devote this much time to it, is it worth that much time when I could be doing this other thing instead?
But at the same time, it's always a gamble, because at the end of the day, right, there may not be something really too just not caring about something than people getting into it. Because what it really boils down to is what resonates with people. Because once again, it goes back to your viral clip. You just never know what's going to resonate. Because there is a world where you could have done that, and for some reason, that did it. Now, is that common? No. But it's possible. So there's just these, or it's just like you see these channels, they pop up on my like homepage on YouTube. It'll be this video that it looks like, it's got a few 100,000 views. They got and it's a pretty good quality video, and I watch it and I enjoy it. And a lot of times these days it's video essays. Those are really, I watch a lot of those lately. But then I'll go to their channel, because I always like to do that. I check out their channel, see what else they have to offer, and I'll notice that it's just like their third or fourth video. And like so quickly, they just happened to make one of their first videos, and it just did it. Like, it just resonated with the right people. It was pushed out to the right people, and then that was it. And then their channel is growing substantially and very quickly. Like, it's just, you really just never know. That's kind of the beauty of creating things, is that you can honestly just keep trying stuff. You never know. If your goal is to reach an audience that really resonates with it and responds to it, keep making different stuff. You never know. I mean, you can find your niche and do your thing, and if you really want to grind at that, go for it. That's fine too. But there's nothing wrong with trying something new, I don't think, because you never know.
No, and then if you do try something new, I think you should try it for a little while because,
Yes.
like you did 2 essays, I did a few of those Monday shows. You never know. Maybe the first one he makes a stinker, but maybe something down the road, will take off. So you want to try it for a little bit. You don't want to do a one and done.
Yeah.
I will say it's frustrating when you see those channels that like have exploded and you look at their video library and they've just made a handful of videos. I'm like, what unholy ritual did you perform? What human sacrifice to like be graced by the YouTube algorithm or whatever creative platform you're on? But how did you do this?
I'd be lying if I said that I don't get angry every time. Like at least just internally, it's like, are you kidding me? Like I do get a little maybe envious is the better word maybe, but it's I don't know. It just really is kind of a bummer because then you look at what you do and you're like. By you, I just mean anybody who's kind of in our position on YouTube. It's like, I've been doing this for so long. Like, I know that I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, you've come such a long way. I really feel like I've kind of honed my craft with the content that I make. Like, I really know what kind of works and what works well. And then it's just like, and that's great. But then you see this one guy who will just make a video. And maybe it's like a pretty decent put together video. Like, it's not just something slapped together. And it's just like that first or second one. And it's tough to see that. Like, good for them. That's awesome. I'm glad you did it. It worked for you. But then it makes you think, like, God, I've been grinding this for over a decade now.
It makes you wonder. Like, one, I think you struck something correct that's really hard to turn into something tangible, is that you need to find something that resonates with people, and you just never know what's going to be. So people get lucky. Right. They put out a video or whatever, and whatever it is, that topic resonated with people. But also, like, is the fact that our channel's so old, like, secretly hiding us, like hiding us in the YouTube algorithm or whatever? Is it holding us back? Like, if I just start, I almost want to do this, but it would take time. It would take focus away from my main channel. So I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I always want to do this. Just create a whole a second channel identical to the first one that I'm doing right now. Just obviously what I'm uploading is a different video of a different game or something, but just a brand new channel. And would the algorithm be like, oh, this is a new channel, we'll show it to new people? Is that how that works?
It's so bizarre because I've thought that same exact thing. Like, I've thought about, like, I've really sat down and just kind of picked my own brain a little bit and thought, would this work? Right? Because these are so old, and I see so many more of these channels just popping up out of nowhere. Yeah. And what, in fact, I mean, with the content that I'm wanting to maybe try out a little bit this year, I'm gonna take that chance. I mean, I'll probably put something on my main channel too, but actually do another channel because it's completely different. And YouTube completely suppresses anything that's not a medley. I mean, it's nothing. So you know what I mean? Like, even YouTube, I mean, the YouTube robots, they know what they're doing a little bit, because I'll even like make like a video that says like medley in it, and it'll like even like, it'll look like everything will look like it's a medley, but then it's just me giving an update or like talking, and it goes, nope, nice try, buddy. Nope. It's so funny how that works.
They're robots. They sift through the automatically generated captions of your videos, and it'll use those captions to sift through what the topics of your video are and promote that or not promote that to whoever. Yeah.
It's wild. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to try not doing 2 identical channels, but I'm going to try a new channel for this whole thing once that happens. Oops, sorry, I pushed my cable again. Once that happens,
you crackled for but a moment.
Just but
a moment, there was a crackling in the air.
For butter moment,
there were tomatoes on my pizza. I'm just looking.
He's got pizza on the brain.
I've got a plate of pizza in eyesight.
Yeah. It's a frozen pizza from Schnucks.
Yeah,
not a sponsor.
What's
the brand?
It's their brand. I think it's their brand. It's Craven.
Oh, okay.
It's CRAV''N. Craven. I got the rising crust 3-meat pizza.
Does it work pretty decent for a frozen pizza?
Yeah.
Like the rising crust and all that?
And yeah, it's rising crust. It's for anyone listening at home, it's like 30 point something ounces, 3 meat pizzas. So you got pepperoni and your sausage and your ham, and it's only like 4 something a pizza.
Dang.
Yeah. So like
that's not bad.
It's a perfectly serviceable frozen pizza. It's not like gonna blow your mind, but it's not bad either by any stretch. And I do the rising crust because I like more crust, but they have thinner crust selections as well. But yeah.
I've never been a big. I love pizza, but I don't like frozen pizza, and I don't know if it's the idea. I mean, I really just don't like it in general, though. Like there's been some that I've had. Like I'll eat it if it's the only thing there. I'm going to eat it, right? I don't like hate it. But if I'm going to go for something frozen it's like cheesy and saucy, I'm more of a pizza rolls man. Like that's kind of that's my wheelhouse.
Pizza rolls are like the potato chips of the pizza world, though. Like I can't stop eating them.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I get it. I have to. I call it I think I might have mentioned it on the podcast before, but I call it my Fat Alex era. When I had a little bit more weight on me, and during Fat Alex used to take like a big thing, like I would get the one of 50, throw that on there, and then I would have like part of another 50 and throw that on there too, and have like 60 or 70 pizza rolls and just slam through them, and which is disgusting to think about now, at least for me.
I aspire
like what I could eat
to
now.
That. That's what I want to do.
No, Weston, you don't, because you feel horrible after like. Because your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Like, well, you know what? Go for it. Report back because you're going to hate it. But anyway, it's like, so these days, like if I just want something quick and I'm going to have a little cheat night, I'll throw like half a bag of 50. Like I'll put like 25 in there and it's good. And, but I think about that and I go, oh my God, I slammed through those. But what I liked about them is you mentioned chips. That's kind of a good way to compare it because I used to dip it in different stuff. So I would have I'd have sour cream. Sometimes I'd mix the sour cream with hot sauce.
I'm not a big sour cream guy.
I'd also do barbecue sauce, or I would do straight hot sauce as well. Those are my go-to dips. And I didn't know if that's considered. Ooh, that sounds good. I've never done ranch. Like I like pizza with ranch. I've never done pizza rolls with ranch though.
I just really like.
And I don't
ranch.
even know if it's considered. I don't know if it's considered a food hack either. I don't know if it's normal for people to dip their pizza rolls and stuff. I always thought it wasn't, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Like one thing I like to do with pizza rolls is eat them with a fork instead of like my hands. So is that weird?
Yeah, because this is the whole point of like they're poppable. You grab one, you eat it.
Yeah, but they're hot, and you can stab them with a fork, and then you dip them in like your ranch or whatever, and then you eat them.
Okay, I mean, it also keeps your hands clean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because sometimes you dip a pizza roll in something with your hands, and then it falls in there, and then you got to grab it, and then you got ranch on your fingers.
And you know how neurotic I am. I don't want to get my fingers dirty.
Yeah, no way. You're not going to do that. No way. Oh, wait a second. That's me. What else here? Oh, I'll say pizza, or not pizza, mini tacos. Those little mini beef tacos that look like hard shell tacos that are frozen. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if I don't know if you have those that often or at all, but those were like a staple like when I was a kid, and now I still get them as comfort food today. I love them.
As a kid, we always did the taquitos, which are just kind of like rolled up tacos, basically.
Those are good.
We would do those. We'd make the taquitos, and we would spray the canned cheese, like spray cheese over each one.
Oh, spray cheese. God, you get me going with cheese, man.
And I don't remember what we ate it with. If we ate it with, I don't know, something goofy like fries or something. I don't remember what we ate them with, but I remember putting cheese on them.
Growing up, there was like this 3-year arc of birthdays. It was like 9, 10, and 11, something like that. Every birthday, the spray cheese was a must-have, and it needed to be a lot. I just remember there was like this birthday era, so we'd spray cheese. Like that's all I ate. Like for each of those birthdays was just all day. That was my treat. And my friends would come over later that night or whatever, and we would just spray cheese on crackers and eat it. Just spray it in my mouth. I've had that fairly recently, like within the last couple years, and it tastes so fake. I just don't like it anymore. But at the time, it was a delicacy.
Have your taste buds become refined?
And I hate it. I miss my old child picky taste buds because all I liked was like spray cheese. Oh, so good.
I remember my version of nachos was a plate of tortilla chips, spray cheese over like all over the top, and put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and that was nachos.
Well, you know what I still do sometimes. I mean, usually it's been a long time now, but I used to do the same thing, but just with like shredded cheese. I would just take some shredded cheese and throw it on there and put it in there.
I think shredded cheese makes more sense, but yeah, I remember doing that with the spray cheese, and I also remember doing that with like sliced, like I don't know, Kraft singles.
You'll like this. That reminds me of there was this one time where this was I don't know, I was probably in my early 20s. I used to have this problem where I didn't want to go. I don't like grocery shopping, never have. And sometimes I'll go as long as I possibly can until I have to go. So my last few days before going back to the grocery store, the meals get really interesting because, you're kind of experimenting with what you've got still.
Yeah.
And right. So I'll never forget, there's this one time where all I really had was peanut butter, popcorn, and tortillas. I thought, okay.
I see where this is going. Okay.
Exactly. So at first I thought, okay, what can I do here? So I could do like peanut butter on tortillas. Like it's just kind of like a peanut butter on bread. That's not super weird. Whatever. I thought, what about the popcorn? I thought, could I do a peanut butter popcorn? That sounds interesting. And then I just decided to combine them all together, and I just made peanut butter popcorn like tacos. I just ate them. Like nothing was cooked, right?
It's
the popcorn was.
It's like creamy from the peanut butter. It's got that crunch from the popcorn.
Yeah, it was good. It was actually good because it was also the sweetness from the peanut butter and more the savory from the popcorn because it was like kind of buttered popcorn.
Right.
And I went in for seconds. Like it was good. Anyway, I wanted to share that. No, I didn't know if you had anything experimental that you've made. I'm sure you've made something experimental before.
Oh, I mean, especially just out of like random assortments of things that I have in the fridge that I turned into a sandwich. Like, because you should always have a loaf of bread in your refrigerator if you could help it. And then you just start putting things on it, whatever that might be. You might just literally have your sandwich bread. I'm trying to remember what the frick I've done before. I've done like sandwich bread and like it was like pickles and some random leftover something. I think I made like some kind of ravioli sandwich with pickles or something.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Which you would think you could just have the ravioli on the side and then I don't know, have a pickle sandwich. I don't know, but like you just look in the fridge and you just combine things and see what happens.
See what comes out. I used to play this game with a coworker of mine. This was ages ago, and we just called it the food game. And this was just to pass the time. So what we would try to do is compete to see who could come up with the grossest food combinations. so I'd go vanilla yogurt and marinara, and then he'd look at me and he'd go milk and chicken. Or like chicken dipped in milk, or just something. We just kept going back and forth, and that would literally kill like an hour because there'd be some gross ones that he would come up with. Like, how could you even think about putting those two foods together? Fun little brain exercise.
That would be a fun game to do on the show sometime, where we have to go back and forth until we have to just admit that whatever they came up with, whichever one of us came up with the worst thing wins the point. Like, I can't top that. That's terrible.
I mean, that sounds fun. I loved playing that game. We could do it.
Well, because there's also like weird combinations of things that you think sound gross, but then you try them and they're not gross. Like I always, my go-to is just chips and cottage cheese. People that haven't done it, it's like, oh, that's gross, but like it's not.
But it's not though.
It's not.
There's something about cottage. There's something about cottage cheese because I've done that from time to time. Cottage cheese has a taste, but I feel like it's just really there for like this extra bit of texture almost when it's involved in something like that. Like the other thing takes the front row when it comes to flavor, at least for me.
Yeah, you're right. Like it kind of absorbs the flavor of whatever chip you're using. If it's a tortilla chip, or like I also like to use either the garden salsa chips or the or what are they called? Sun chips. Garden salsa or the harvest cheddar or whatever, the sun chips. Or even Doritos work well for them. If you get the big enough pieces, you're a bit of a mixed bag there because if you get a bunch of little pieces, you can't really scoop it. But
so, Fat Alex, I didn't make this discovery, but I did partake in it for a while. I don't know if it's I discovered it from my stepdad. Shout out to Big Daddy. He used to do just the standard Doritos dipped, and then you dip it in French onion dip.
That sounds good.
And I've never tried it until one time he came over, him and my mom, and we hung out, and he was like, try this. And it was divine. Like, it's bad because you that's one of those things you talked about earlier, just you can't stop. Oh, you can't stop that. It's the perfect combo. So try that next time you're at the store. Pick that up. It's really good.
Like, I know it's not exactly the same, but that's like why like sour cream and onion chips are so popular. Because that's like in the same realm.
It is, yeah.
So it's like, I mean, that's like my favorite flavor of chip, actually. Sour cream and onion of anything.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, do you have a favorite flavor?
Honestly, my favorite flavor, I don't have a brand, but my favorite flavor is actually salt and vinegar.
And that's good,
and
too.
I really love the ones that are like extra acidic. Like the most salt and vinegar you can get is what I like.
Salt and vinegar, extra vinegar.
And what I've learned is that I've tried many brands, and I think for me, the Kroger brand is probably the most acidic that I've had. And I just love it. It's just so strong. Like Lay's is good. You know, they have other versions that are good too. But I did want to bring this up, though. And it's funny, it's full circle because I brought this up before we hit record. So this is a good segue.
Yeah, it's perfect.
When you came down... Oh, sorry, go ahead. What'd you say?
I said, yeah, no, this is perfect.
Oh, okay. So when you came down, we went to the grocery store, picked up a few things to snack on over the weekend. And one of the things we bought some kettle chips. And it was kettle cooked chips. And it was the cheddar jalapeno, right? I think.
Yes.
It's something like that.
Something
I remember
like
we
that?
like
Something spicy?
When we were recording our videos that we did, I remember like we were just kind of snacking on those in between takes. And I don't know if this happened to you, but those things tore me up because we had those the day before you left, and you left the next day. That next day, it was coming out like nothing.
Oh, no.
Like bad. And I thought, is this just a coincidence? Like, is this like, what did I eat? What's going on? I was going to text you and say, do you have bad diarrhea right now? Like, I'm just curious. So what I discovered, and it makes sense that it exists, but in just a sheer moment of desperation, I needed to feel that I wasn't alone. So I was sitting on my toilet mid taking care of business, and I just typed in kettle cooked chips, cheddar jalapeno, diarrhea, right? I just typed that in.
What?
I did. And the first website that comes up, it's this whole directory in real time, like it's live. Or at least it shows the most recent posts where it says, okay, what kind of food made you sick? Click the food. What brand? This. How did it make you sick? Boom. And then it immediately pops up on this registry so other people can go on there and go, oh, if I eat, okay. So they said that this happened. So it turns out, so that was a cool website. I ended up looking through that for a minute. But then I discovered that actually happens to a lot of people. It'll just kind of tear them up, like that particular brand. Because I've had cheddar jalapeno and it's been fine. So for some reason that did it for me.
Well, I'm not horribly surprised. Anything spicy, I think, can have an effect on a person's body just because it's your body reacting to the spice, I think, and just in your gut and your intestines. Even if you're a person who eats spicy things, maybe a certain brand of spicy thing for some reason hits different.
Just did it. Exactly.
Like, I don't remember having a reaction to those chips that I can remember. So I don't remember having any issue getting home.
It's bizarre because I eat hot, spicy things all the time, and it's not a problem. So just something about that particular thing. Now, you know about sugar-free gummy bears, right?
No. What about sugar-free gummy bears?
Oh, look that up. Look and see what those do to you. I mean, it does the same thing. Sugar-free gummy bears, the combination of ingredients present themselves, basically, it treats itself like a laxative in your body. Oh. And it'll push through you. So people literally say, like, if you just... like, that can be treated basically as a laxative. It's that strong and it works. And that happened to me one time when I worked retail and I was the only person working in the store and I was just going through those things. And I didn't realize at the time. My coworker just had some. And she said, you can have them. And I was running to the bathroom with customers in the store. It was so bad. And then I didn't learn until later that it was sugar-free gummy bears. But yeah, that's a known thing. Sugar-free gummy bears will just... there's some sort of ingredient or a combination of ingredients that cause your body to push things out.
This sounds like a food experiment that I need to like succumb to. Like I need to put myself through this. I want to know.
Try it. That'd be fun. You should report back like in a couple episodes and tell us if it happened. Like do it when you're at home. Don't do it at work.
That'll be fun to do on stream. We had a joke on stream forever ago now because I was like eating dinner while streaming and someone was like, "Oh, we're having a mukbang." And I'm like, yeah, I should do a mukbang stream where I just stream it for people who don't know. A mukbang stream is just, you just eat a ton of food on stream.
It's nasty, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, maybe we need to do a mukbang. I can just eat a ton of food and then finish it up with a bag of sugar-free gummy bears.
I would watch that, 100%. That, man, I keep touching my mic. I got to fix that.
Don't touch your mic.
I know, stop touching it. That reminds me of forever ago now when he told me the story about you were like completely just full and bloated from like eating like
oh yeah
like a burger or something, and then like you saw this big ass spider and you're swiping around at it.
That was stressful. I had a lot of fries. Yeah, I had a burger, but it was the unlimited fries at Red Robin that I had multiple servings of, and I was just like waddling in, and then I had to confront literal terror incarnate.
I just in my head I think I said it on that podcast too, that episode, but I just pictured like you're in a video game and you're walking with your arms hanging behind your back, your stomach straight out, and then like the health bar appears above the spider boss and you're like, oh crap, here we go.
Do I hear boss music?
Right, you're just not ready to fight this boss, but here you go.
Oh, no. I hear a choir and it's in Latin.
Right. Exactly. Take your elixir, let's go.
Well, I think my elixir is the sip of coffee, and then we're going to move on, I think, to our next segment, Alex.
Oh, okay. That sounds great.
Yeah.
You didn't
see
that
that
know
coming.
Where this first segment was going to go.
That's where it went. You're never going to know what the intended topic was this week.
I guess you can save it for another episode.
Save it for next time. We had a good conversation about creative endeavors and food, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. This sounds great. Let's do that.
I love it. That's great.
Am I really the host this week? I think God's at the wheel this week. I think
you're right.
I think the beings that be are at the wheel. Anyway, we'll see you guys right after this short advertisement break.
Don't go anywhere.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by A Hasty Podcast, my own personal podcast talking about life, games, media, and sometimes featuring guests. Look for it on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by The Two-Piece Podcast, a show where my significant other and I compare and contrast our top 5 lists on a variety of topics. Not only is it fun, but we also provide facts and trivia about our topics. Come laugh, learn, and listen to The Two-Piece Podcast on your preferred platform of choice.
Welcome back, everybody. After that
Hey.
lovely advertisement break, did you survive?
It was nice.
Did you make it?
I mean, I didn't. I don't know about the listeners, but I didn't survive.
Are you speaking to me from the beyond? Yeah. Wait, am I in the afterlife?
Yeah, this is the Profoundish beyond.
This is a little dark.
The endless Profoundish abyss.
Yes, just the void of Profoundish. After we all inevitably pass on, there is nothing left but Profoundish on loop into eternity.
Just echoing. This is the sandwich episode.
We need to have another big episode like that, actually, where we have to have another oddball one like that. This is because something episode.
Because that's always we have a formula for those episodes, and I like it because it's the blank episode, and then we have our would you rather or not would you rather? Yeah, would you rather be a millionaire game? Yeah, we should do that again soon. Who's up? Is it me again or is it you?
I think I did one. You did. I think me. If we keep going back and forth, but I mean we don't have to keep going back and forth.
That's true. But hey, we are due for one, so we should start thinking about that.
We are due for one. I kind of wanted to do something like that today, but I hate to break it to you, Alex, but we have some unfinished business.
Oh. Wait a second.
You know what this is.
Again?
I mean, we're only halfway through the list.
How many are left?
We're on we went through 56 out of 100 last time.
Jeez
We have
Louise!
44 more of these to go, baby.
Oh my God. Like, I swear, I thought this was going to be like maybe a January/February thing. This is going to go on for a while. We'll see, I guess.
I wasn't going to do this today. I'm like, man, Alex is going to be getting bored of this. Everyone at home is getting bored of this. And then I buckled down. I said, no, this is the Never Have I Ever Oprah's Top 100 arc, the saga for our podcast.
I like it. Like, you know, you gotta finish things, right?
Yes.
You gotta finish things. Like, see it through. I respect that.
So
That's what we're all about here.
So I hope it's been a little while since we actually recorded one of these in terms of like in the real life space. So hopefully this still feels fresh and not completely worn out at this point.
It's fun. It always sparks fun conversation.
It does, and I think that's the point of a podcast, is to spark good conversation. So it does its job.
Right.
Thanks, Oprah.
Look, I think we've proven our creative abilities with some of our fun ideas that we've had so far. This podcast is still pretty young, and the fact that we've had a lot of creative ideas, I think we can take a pass and and finish this saga.
I think this podcast is pretty
We
young.
deserved it.
Good thing we're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. The good news is, like every other week, it's your week, and usually you don't do one of these. You did do one
Except
week,
that
though.
one time when I did.
That was hilarious to me. Because you're like, surely Weston won't do it twice in a row. And I'm like, here I come, baby.
Here I come. Here we go. Making his approach.
Oh, Lord, he coming. So, for everyone at home, if you know what we're talking about, you know what we're talking about. If you don't, allow me to fill you in. Never Have I Ever is a game where you start with 10 fingers up, or however number of fingers you want to start with. And everyone in a group participating in the game takes turns saying, never have I ever done blank. And anyone who's done that thing lowers one of their fingers. And whoever loses all their fingers is out of the game, and whoever is still standing with at least one finger up wins the game by basically having done the fewest things in life than everybody else. Since we're playing two-player, I have a list from, what's the website? OprahDaily.com. I have a list of 100 of their top 100 Never Have I Ever questions. I'm just reading them blind, having never seen them before, and Alex and I are just competing to see who's the last one standing.
Yep.
And then I guess
makes sense.
I guess the status quo is whoever loses has to write a nice haiku about the other person on Twitter.
Yeah, follow us because that's been taking place. So check those out. You can follow me at AP Duquette.
And you can
What
follow
are you just Weston Hasty?
Yeah, you can follow me at Weston Hasty, and of course you can follow the podcast at Profoundish Pod. So
That's right.
With that out of the way, 10 fingers up, Alex.
Yep.
Question 57. We have so many left to go.
I know.
Never have I ever left gum in a public space. I don't think I have. I was never a big gum chewer. Well, as kids, we actually weirdly were. Like, my mom always kept gum. I don't remember what brand it was, like the Extra or something, like minty fresh stuff. And if we were going out someplace, she would always give us this gum to like freshen our breath or something like that. I don't know if we just had stank mouth as kids. I don't remember that. I just knew I was being handed gum. You know what I mean? Like before church, we always had gum in church.
I don't have the gum church association like you do, but I did chew. I did gum a lot. My dad was a gum guy, and I always took his gum. He was a Big Red guy. He loved Big Red.
My dad would get Big Red sometimes. I loved Big Red too. That was my favorite one.
What if that's like a 90s dad thing?
It might be. My dad had Big Red and he had Altoids.
Yeah, my dad did too.
Which isn't gum. It's a mint for anyone that doesn't know.
Those
but they're
Altoids were strong.
Refreshing. What do they call it? Surprisingly strong or refreshingly strong? Whatever's on the tin. Because they come in little tins.
It was strong. Yep. That was so cool. I love those things. But anyway, I did the Big Red. And I was a gum swallower. So I didn't put it anywhere other than, inside my body. Yeah, I did that.
I don't think I ever swallowed any gum. I do remember hearing that if you do, it's like stuck in your body for 7 years. I remember hearing that.
7 years, yeah.
I don't think that's true, but I remember hearing it. I always made sure gum ended up in a trash can, or my mom would always have like tissues in her purse, like those little like little bags of tissues, you know, like little soft travel tissue things or whatever. You could put your gum in a tissue, and then you put it in her purse or pocket or something.
That's nice. That's a lot better than me just, my mom, like, because it'd always be like, did you swallow it again? You know, it'd be one of those things. It's like, no. Where's it at?
I swallowed it. I lied.
It's like, how are you going to get out of that one? You frickin' swallowed it. Anyway, so I guess our fingers stay up on that one.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember having left it out anywhere in a public space. Never have I ever slept outdoors for an entire night. Now, this one's kind of...
You and I have done that together.
Yeah, I was going to say, this one's kind of an interesting question. We weren't, like, outside under the stars. We were, like, tent camping, which is outdoors, just not, like, under the night sky, if that makes sense. But, yeah, we've both camped outdoors before.
Yeah, you and I specifically have more than once. We did with all of our friends, and then one time we did like a backyard thing when we were younger.
Yeah, when you invited several friends, and I was the only one that showed up.
You know what? It's so funny because I quit pop as a kid. Like I quit it, and it was like a year, and I was so proud of myself. And then you brought over that Diet Dr. Pepper, and I freaking love Dr. Pepper, and I thought, and I literally drank it because I felt bad because you were the only friend that came and you bought this Dr. Pepper. Or maybe you didn't buy it. Maybe you just had it in your fridge. I don't know.
I don't remember, but I brought it.
I just remember being like, well, I don't want him to, he brought all this pop. I'm just going to drink some of it. And then I got on pop again for like another decade.
I'm a bad influence. That's what this is.
Such a horrible influence.
And then we played like Guitar Hero or something for like
an
hour.
We had a GameCube and a PS2 out there.
Yeah, we had like, because we weren't camping too far from your house, and you had like an extending cord or something all the way to the house to like plug in a TV.
It was pretty much just the novelty of being like outside, and then we still did what we usually would have done, which was just like play games and stuff. So
play games and hang out. Yeah,
play games and hang out. So that's all it was. But I loved that stuff.
Treasured memory. But we have been outdoors
Absolutely.
For an entire night.
Mm-hmm. Finger down.
No finger down. Never have I ever. Yeah, finger down.
Yeah,
we did do that. I had to remember the rules there for a sec.
I do it too every time. Like, does my finger go down or does it stay up?
Where does my finger go? Someone tell me.
Well, let's play that game. Where does my finger go?
It's a dangerous game.
It is. Keep the lights on, folks.
Oh.
Do not turn them off.
The fun was just about to begin.
I know, right?
Never have I ever ran a marathon. I've run a lot, but I've never run a marathon.
Never run a marathon.
So nothing there. You never got into running, right?
Not like, I mean, I've had running phases where like I would run. I don't think, not as much as you, because I mean, you used to document yourself running.
Yeah.
You really got into it for a while. I used to be pretty decent at running. Like I would run like a mile, like on the treadmill, like every few days. But those times are far and in between. So I would say overall no. And I definitely haven't run a marathon.
I want to get back into it. I want to run a marathon eventually.
Me too.
I want to. That'd be awesome.
Steph's done one of the Spartan races.
Oh, that's like a bunch of stuff.
You know what those are?
Yeah, they do like
it's
a bunch of random things.
There's like, and there's like a pit of fire. You got to jump over it, and like, I mean, some of it's kind of extreme. You get all muddy and dirty, and I mean, she loved it. She used to be very active with that stuff back in the day.
That's pretty cool. Does she still? She doesn't like get into that kind of stuff anymore, though.
She still stays active, but she doesn't do that anymore. She said next time she does it, she wants me to do it with her, and I'm like, I'm down for it, and I'm just, I'm going to die.
Your training arc begins.
Dying, I know, right?
I will be dead.
Music.
I will be dead. Training arc begins. Okay.
That's right.
Never have I ever given/received a lap dance. I've never received a lap dance. Winky.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, like, I've jokingly given lap dances before. At one point, I probably have to you guys. So
I don't know if
jokingly,
if it was any of our guys' hangouts. I don't think any of our vaguely homosexual encounters are that count towards as a lap dance. I say that because when all the guys get together, some wild things get said. I don't remember seeing you give anyone a lap dance, jokingly or otherwise.
Maybe not. I just know that there were some vaguely, like you said, some just vaguely homosexual things or actions done. I mean, we're making it sound worse than it is.
We're making it sound bad, but anyone listening out there, when the boys are together, and
What if nobody gets it? No, when the boys are together, they just play games and hang out. When the boys get together, they just hang out and they kiss a little. With the boys.
Kiss a little. Sometimes there's tongue.
Right, whatever. It's just the boys hanging out. Whatever. They got girlfriends. It doesn't matter.
You have to end every sentence with no homo.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Sometime we should tell that story. We don't have to right now, but about our the similar interest story.
Oh, God.
We can keep the name silent, but
to tell it briefly, because you brought it up, and if we don't talk about it now, we'll forget about it.
We won't. You're right.
Bring it up, we had won a board game at a Dave & Buster's, and I don't think when we won it we realized that it was a dating game for couples. So here we are, the guys together, the boys, in one of our basements with this game here, and we get it out to play, and it's a dating game for couples. So it's asking questions where we're trying to piece together information about each other, learn more about each other. And basically one of them, what was the question? What would it take for you to I think to turn gay?
It was what would it take for you to make love to the opposite gender, assuming you're straight.
Assuming you're straight,
assuming
you're straight, what would it take you to have a relationship with the same gender? Something like that. It was something like that. So, of course, here we are, all the boys, I've never turned gay or whatever. I don't remember what was being said. I don't remember. Right. But it was a funny question, and we were all goofing on it. It was funny. But one of our friends I didn't understand the question, so their answer, and we had to all write down our answers and turn them in. So we were all opening the answers and seeing what everyone said. And one of their answers,
Well, I was just going to say, some of the other answers were they'd have to look like a female still.
Yeah.
Or, very straight answers, basically still saying she still basically has to be a girl.
Basically, right?
But then, go on.
But yeah, our friend didn't really understand the question, or maybe didn't really understand the game, which is totally fair, because this was not who this game was meant for. But their answer was just, they'd have to have similar interests. And so here we are, a bunch of guys who are friends with similar interests to each other. We're all looking at his friend yeah, that's all it would take?
That's all it takes, huh? So you got a secret you've been keeping? What's going on here? We thought that was his outing right there.
Got a whole room full of dudes with similar interests, man.
What a classic story.
It was pretty funny.
That was good.
Poor guy. I think he just didn't understand the question or the game. And again, that's totally fair, but oh God, it was funny.
I think one part of it too was that he was always the kind of guy that would kind of go over the top with the non to make sure that everyone knows that he's straight.
Yeah, he was one of the more whenever you're talking sexually, it was very trying to be macho.
Exactly. So just hearing that from him of all of the Freds was just the funniest.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It's okay, it's coming out story. Here we go. I wasn't ready for this intervention, but it's happening. Our friend's coming out of the closet. I want to be supportive, but I also want to laugh.
What a way to actually come out. If that really was it.
If that really was
a dating game.
By the way, everyone at home, he's not. He's happily in a relationship.
He's happily married.
He's happily married. So he's not. So any of you that are worried that we heckled this poor man. That's not what happened.
We did not.
I mean, we heckled him, but not
we were just giving him a hard time.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
So
all right. So
neither of us have given a receipt.
9 fingers.
I'm still at 9. Cool.
Okay. I think I'm at 9 too.
Never have I ever made a speech in front of 100 or more people. I have.
So does it count if I was speaking to more than 100 people at a gig? Speaking. Telling a story in between songs.
I think so. Right? Is that the same as making a speech? You know?
I mean, I'm still like...
You're still making a performance.
I mean, it's not... Right. And like sometimes I tell stories in between songs, and there was a show we played that had well over 200 people. So, I mean...
Because I didn't even think...
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I wasn't even thinking about performances. I've given an actual speech in front of over 100 people. What's jumping to my mind is when I was in, I think it was my junior year going into my senior year, because it was over the summer, I think, the Illinois Boys State, which is this thing where they send a bunch of, like, that aged boys to one of the local campuses or whatever, and it's kind of like a week-long thing that's put on by, I think the American Legion puts it on or something like that. And it's kind of like politics. You have these like local elections, then you have these like regional elections, and then you have like a state election for Illinois Boys State. So you have like these different elections. You have these different kind of like vaguely, what's the ROTC stuff? You had like, there's band stuff.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But as a part of that, I wanted to get involved in like the politics or whatever. So I gave 3 political speeches. I don't know how many people were involved in the like the county level one. I don't remember, but I gave a speech at the state level one, and that was everybody that had gone, and that was a lot of people. I don't know how many people it was, but it was like well over 100, if not 200 or 100 or so. I'm not sure, but it was a lot of people.
Were you nervous?
Oh, that one I was pretty nervous, but to be fair, it was less about the number of people and more about that I didn't really prepare the speech at all. Because the other 2 speeches I hadn't prepared. Actually, the first speech I had just wung. I decided then and there, like, you know what? I'll give a speech. And proceeded to win an election. I won my local election. I won the county election. So I won 2 elections on very poorly planned speeches or 1 improv speech. And then I kind of tried to do the same thing with the state level one. And we were playing with the bigger boys at that point, the people that had been winning, people with a little bit more charisma than I brought to the table. So I was pretty nervous about that.
Right. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Mine, my story's simpler. It just, I played a show, and there was a bunch of people, and then sometimes in between songs, I would tell stories or crack jokes. So that's all. So if that counts, then I'll put a finger down.
I'm going to have to leave that up to you. If that feels like the same as giving a speech, it might not be. It's more like a performance.
Yeah, because I'm trying to entertain. So I'm going to say no. Like, I've done speeches, but not in front of that many people.
Okay.
So I guess no, I'll keep my fingers the same.
Never have I ever relieved myself in a pool. In a public pool.
I've never peed in the pool.
I was wondering what you were going to say. I haven't either.
No, I have admittedly peed in the ocean before.
I did not pee in the ocean,
but
the times I've been to the ocean. That's disrespectful to the fish that are peeing in the ocean.
You're completely right. But I was young and dumb, and I did pee in the ocean. So, but I guess that doesn't count. They said pool.
Did you at least go like further out in the ocean and pee, or were you still pretty close to the beach where everyone's like trying to play in the water?
I was just sitting in the sand next to the kid building a sandcastle, just peeing.
Kid, don't look over
hey,
this
kid,
way.
What are you building there? Right, I'm having some adult time here.
Sandcastle. I need a sand urinal.
Can you build me one of those, son? Oh, goodness. No, I was out in the middle of nowhere.
I'll say neither one of us relieved ourselves in a public pool. Never have I ever lied to my best friend about who I was with. I
don't think so.
I
don't really have one specific best friend. We've talked about that before.
Yeah. But I don't think I've ever lied with anyone with who I was with. I've either not said anything because it's like recent years, and as adults we don't always talk about every relationship we're involved with. You're in a long-standing one now, and I'm aware of that. Unless that's all a charade, a facade that was not real.
I can't keep that lie up. No way.
But
yeah. I'm trying to think. Like, it's not really a lie. Like, I know that. I know for a while, this is when kind of our friend group kind of wasn't hanging out as much for a short period of time. It was like the period of time that right before I moved to Tennessee.
Right.
And we kind of all just kind of went our own ways for a little bit. No animosity. We just kind of all split up.
Yeah.
And I was seeing somebody then, and I think you learned later that I was seeing somebody, but I don't think you knew then.
Yeah, we talked about that, and that's not really lying. You just didn't tell people that you were in a relationship. Yeah.
Exactly. Because, like, it'd be one thing if you and I were talking about it and then, or talk about relationships or catching up. It's like, what's new in your life? I mean, even that, I guess it's more omitting.
Yeah,
that's a gray
It'd be different
area.
if it's like I knew, right? Like, oh, so you're seeing, I don't know what named it, made up name. Are you seeing Gabby? And you're like, no, I'm not seeing Gabby. And you're seeing Gabby. Or something, you know, something like
Secretly,
that.
he was
right?
seeing Gabby.
He was seeing
Right.
Gabby. You know, whatever, you know.
Oh, my God. One of my favorite things about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is their intros. And they always have, like, come on, guys, what could possibly go wrong? And then it goes to the episode title, and it's the episode where everything goes wrong. It's stupid stuff like that. I love that stuff, that kind of meta humor.
So I don't think either of us have actually lied about who we're with.
No, I don't think so.
Never have I ever been to a Disney park. Well, we've both been to a Disney park.
At the same time, even.
At the same time. Because
now, have you been otherwise?
Yes, I went to Disneyland as a kid. I went to Disney World as a kid. Went to Disney World for the band trip, and then went to Disney World again as friends. I've been to Disney World like 3 times that I can remember, and then Disneyland once.
I have never done Disneyland, but I've done Disney World 3 times. The first time was the band trip, so you and I were also there at the same time. Next time was when we went together as friends and a few other friends. And then the third time was one of my siblings did the band trip. So we had an excuse to go again. So I haven't been since, but it was fun. I loved our trip when we went as friends because we were at the age where we could drink. We were just old enough to like be able to kind of do adult things. I mean, we were at Disney, so we didn't do anything crazy.
Right.
But we did. There's this thing called drinking around the world that you can do
at Epcot. Yeah,
we didn't officially do it, but we did kind of bar hop a little bit for a while that one night to different places, and that was a lot of fun. I remember that.
Yeah, it'd be fun to do more of that again as even older adults with even more, disposable income than we used to have.
Well, we discussed planning a trip when we're all right around 30, which is pretty much coming up.
God,
so
don't remind me.
I think we. Oh, I'm going to remind you.
I think
if anyone's going to put it together, it's me.
Well,
so we got to do it. You mean don't remind me about the 30
no,
part?
about the 30 part, yeah. God, I know you're not as close to it as I am, so it's not dawning yet, but it will. No.
It's coming. As soon as I hit 29, which will be, as of the recording of this,
God,
I'm a couple months from now. That's when it gets scary. So I understand.
I lose track of people. I've been 29 for a while now.
You're the oldest in our group.
In our group, yeah, I am. I'm the elderly old man.
That's right.
Fingers down on that one. Never have I ever had a threesome.
I've never had a threesome.
Does a foursome count? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I've only had a sixsome.
Yeah, actually, that's like 2 threesomes.
Exclusively. Right.
We formed 2 groups, and then we compared notes. The winner in each group then had a twosome.
Listen, I'm barely good at having a onesome. Okay, so let me tell you something. Threesome's a little too much to handle.
Listen. I've still got the training wheels on. Never have I ever left someone on red. Oh, I've absolutely left people on red.
Yeah, I've done that. I think almost everybody has.
Sometimes conversations are just too exhausting to get into, and you're like, I'm just not going to right now.
Yeah, no way.
It sounds rude, but
well, I have a whole system. I'm going to give a little. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to give a plug here.
Do it.
I have a whole system to make people not realize that you leave them on red. And lets you sleep better at night, and you can respond when you're ready to respond, but you have to listen to it on the 2-Piece Podcast. That episode's out. The episode title is, I don't know what the title is, but our topic is going to be basically like, because we're changing up how our titles are going to be this season, but it's top 5 favorite, or top 5 most effective ways to get out of talking to someone. So anyway, I talk about my foolproof way. And you got to check it out. So look up the 2-Piece Podcast and check that out.
That's right.
Anywhere you
the
get your
2-Piece,
including
podcast.
YouTube now, by the way.
That's right. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube now.
Yeah.
So
check that out. I will have to check that out. I want to know.
You should know.
And if it's already out at the time of this recording and I just haven't listened to it yet, I am behind one episode. So that is possible.
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm behind. I know it's out. I just haven't listened yet. Maybe on my commute to work tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go.
Never have I ever fallen asleep during sex. Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I mean, I could not.
The sex would have to be either like so incredibly boring, or you just have to be so incredibly exhausted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could either be like the best sex you've ever had or the worst sex you've ever had, depending on how you look at it.
It's not going to be in between.
No, I have never fallen asleep during that moment.
I used to never fall asleep during movies, and now I fall asleep during movies. So now I'm getting worried. Maybe my day is coming where one day I'm going to be in the throes of passionate lovemaking, and I'm just going to pass out.
Yeah, you know, your partner's there just doing what they need to be doing, and they just start hearing.
What's worse is I sleep talk and sleepwalk.
Oh boy, so you could just be going through the motions and just
maybe.
Be dead asleep.
What if I'm just asleep the whole time and they don't know it?
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Like,
for them, cool. Maybe I'd be unconscious.
What if, like, you wake up and you go, you're like, I had the best dream.
I had this crazy dream.
It's like it actually happened in the dream.
Also, I'm still tired.
Right.
Never have I ever lied about my age. I guess technically I have, but like I have this running joke where I tell people, if people ask me how old I am, like on stream or somewhere else, I tell people that I'm a 9,000-year-old anime vampire girl.
Yep, you've said it. Yep.
Which actually I recently added. This was someone at work I was talking to. I don't remember what they said. Something about me acting like a cat. I don't remember what I did. I think it's just because I like to knock things over at work. But so I'm like, okay, now I'm a 9,000-year-old anime. Is 9,000-year-old vampire cat anime girl or anime cat girl or something like that. I'm like, great. The list gets keeps getting longer.
So, mine isn't as fun as yours, but yeah, there's been times, it's been a long time, but there's been a few times where I said the wrong age because I was like either rounding down or rounding up. And like in my head, I would go, because like maybe I'd be like 24 and a half. And I'd say, oh, I'm 25. Or I'd say I'm 20, or I'd say like usually it was rounding up, I guess. It wasn't rounding down. I'd say I'm 25. And then in my head the whole time I'm going, I kind of lied because I'm actually not 25 yet. So like in my head, I'm considering it a lie, even if you may not consider it yourself. And I would never admit to it. I would just stick to my age in that conversation.
Right.
So
I'd consider that lying about
I'm
your
going to count
age.
that.
Yeah, I would count that.
Because in my head, I'm like, crap, I kind of lied, but whatever.
I don't think I really count my 9,000 as actually lying. That's just me being coy and not really wanting to say.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because no one's going to believe me.
No. And if they do, then we have a lot, there's more to talk about. There's more to unpack there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know what I mean?
Never have I ever made up a story about someone who wasn't real. Never have I ever made up a story about someone who wasn't real. Oh, I've made up a story about a person who wasn't a real person.
I mean, I have numerous times. You can listen to 9 of those on my album, Songs from Sangamon Street, my next plug.
Yeah.
They're all stories about fictional characters. So, yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. So, yes, I've done that.
My brother and I, for a brief spell, had a story that we would tell people that we actually had a sister. And it's this really sad story about how she passed away. And the older we got, the less funny it was. It was funny at the time because when you're in a small town and everyone knows everyone, it's like, well, of course we have a sister. You didn't know? Because everyone knows everyone's business. And everyone's like, you don't have a sister. So we had this story about this sister that we had that like mysteriously died. Like the way she passed away changed every time the story was told. It was funny then. Right. It's really kind of dark now because it's like
right. Yep, that's hilarious.
That could happen to people. That's real, but yeah, that's a story we've had about.
It's funny. You're older. Your tastes change and your humor changes, and it comes.
Yeah,
I remember you telling us that story forever.
You look back on it, you're like, God, that's dark. What the frick?
Oh, I know. Yeah, I think about some of the things I used to say, or I used to find things. I used to find shock stuff funny, not because it was actually funny, but just because it was so shocking.
Right.
And now I think about some of that stuff, and I go, it's like, yeah, it's shocking, but like, I don't get any pleasure out of saying these things anymore. It just, I don't know. I guess you just get a little older and you realize that it's just not, I don't know. You never know who's going to hear it. And
Yeah.
you just get a little older.
Just get a little older.
But
never have I ever believed something was haunted. I don't actually believe in ghosts for real, so I guess I don't. I do often say, oh my gosh, this thing's haunted or whatever, but it's more like as just me flippantly, like, I don't know what happened. That was weird, you know?
I've had some strange experiences, but I don't know if I necessarily believe in ghosts either. We've talked about our experiences in our Halloween episode, but I'm going to say I don't really.
Yeah.
What was the actual question again?
Never have I ever believed something was haunted.
Yeah, I don't think anything's ever. I've never seen it that way, so no.
Never have I ever participated in a protest. I don't think I've participated in a protest.
No, I haven't. I almost did. I almost did for. Actually, I don't think I can say.
Okay.
So never mind.
Never mind.
But no, I don't think.
Deep dark secrets.
I don't think I did. No, it was nothing crazy. I just can't get into specific details. It's not like anything political even. It was something to do with my old job. And it was like something about like our job was unionized and there was a risk of our job not being unionized anymore, and people were what's it called when you went on strike. There were some people going on strike, basically.
Gotcha.
Now, and like there was a lot of pressure at this. It was just a weird time. But no, I did not do it. So I guess my finger's still up.
Yeah, I think my finger's still up. I participated in like a talk type thing, but it wasn't a protest of any kind. It was on a college campus, so no protest there.
No.
Never have I ever had sleep paralysis. I've had it one time ever. And I had the flu in 2008, and I was like the most sick I'd ever been in my life, even to this day. And I remember waking up after finally being able to sleep, shaking violently, burning up, didn't know what to do, wanted to call out for water or help, or I couldn't move, I couldn't speak. I just lied there shaking, and I was like, this is it. I'm going to just die now, I guess.
That's
it was the most sick I've ever been in my life. I didn't know if I was going to make it. Like, and this was in 2008. I wasn't even all that old. So,
wow.
That's like the one time ever. Yeah,
like
one time ever.
I've heard of how nightmarish that can be, because like you wake up but you can't do anything. Like you were literally trapped in your body.
It was so bizarre.
That just sounds so creepy.
I wanted more than anything to just, because I knew that it wasn't natural. Like I just couldn't move. I'm like, this isn't right. Like I was just shaking so bad. I just wanted to call out, like, you know, someone check on me or something to make sure I'm not dying.
Right.
And I couldn't do it. I just
goodness.
laid there. I was like, well, this is awful. And then eventually I must have just passed back to sleep.
Right. Goodness.
Have you had sleep paralysis?
No, I haven't.
I don't.
You could probably tell by my just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't.
I have not.
I don't wish that on anyone. Never have I ever been the alibi for a lying friend. That's kind of hard to say. Not that I know of.
I don't think so.
It's like, oh yeah, I couldn't do this thing. I was with Weston the whole time. I don't know if that's happened or not.
I don't know. I feel like if it would happen, I wouldn't know that I was. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so.
Not to my awareness. Never have I ever pulled an all-nighter. I've definitely done that. I've done that many times.
Yeah, I've done that.
For various reasons.
I can promise you've done it more than me.
For for schoolwork, for video games, for all of it.
I can't remember now the last time I did though. It's been quite a few years since I've done an all-nighter, like just completely missed sleep.
It's been a while. I can't even imagine doing it now. I'd probably pass out. My body won't stand for it anymore.
Listen, we're going to have to do a 24-hour stream, so don't forget.
Oh, that's true.
We're going to do it.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's going to happen.
We should try and plan that for 2023. Even if like we're remote, we should try and figure that out.
We should. We'll talk about it. I got three
We'll
fingers still up. How many you got?
I got 4.
Okay. Never have I ever role played. Now, I don't know if they mean sexually. I am in a D&D campaign. I have role played. So I'm going to put a figure down. I don't know what they mean, but it just says never have I ever role played.
I mean, I've role played in the game sense too, so I guess I'll put a figure down too. I have never sexually though.
Never have I ever regretted an apology.
Like saying you're sorry and then wishing you didn't say you're sorry.
Yeah. I almost want to say yes, but only because the person I apologized to, I was still mad at. So I almost want to say yes.
Well, then you regretted it.
Yeah.
I would say
I think I have regretted an apology before. Where I apologized because I was trying to be the bigger person, but honestly, like I wasn't really in the wrong. You know what I mean?
Right. Sure. I understand that. I have regretted not apologizing for things, but I don't think I've ever regretted apologizing. So my fingers stay up on that one.
And never have I ever pretended I was sick for attention. For attention.
I don't think I've ever done that.
No, I've wanted to just to be like, "Whoa, is me."
Right.
But not that I ever have. Never have I ever disliked.
These are my final days.
This is it. Never have I ever disliked something that I cooked.
Oh, I've made some pretty crappy stuff before in the past.
Yeah, I've made stuff that I've disliked. So I think that's a finger down for me. It's not even that it was like gross. It's just bad, like burned or whatever.
Yeah, I've been
Put
there.
the wrong seasoning in something. That's it. I ran out of fingers. I'm out.
Dang. You're out. I still have 2 left.
I was trying to barrel through this. We're running kind of long in the tooth on this episode. That made us all the way to...
Yeah, I know.
That was 78 that we got past.
Dang,
22 more to go. Maybe one more episode. See you in 2 weeks.
We'll find out. Oh, that was fun. So that means I'm writing you a haiku again, right?
I lost, so I'm writing you a haiku.
Oh, that's right. You're writing me one.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forwed to it.
But
make it good.
That's going to do it for today's episode of Profoundish. Did you all pay attention and play along as well? How many fingers did you have up? How many fingers in the negative were you? Where do you stand? Let us know on Twitter or Instagram at Profoundish Pod. We have a TikTok and a YouTube and a Spotify and Apple. On all the podcast places, we're just Profoundish. But on all of the socials, we're at Profoundish Pod. Alex, where can we find you?
You can find everything I do either on YouTube, just Alex Duquette. You can find my music or my medleys, or you can go to alexduquette.net. And speaking of that, make sure you listen to my new record, Songs from Sangamon Street. You can support me by buying the physical CD. You can do that on Amazon. Or you can just stream it anywhere you get your music. So check that out. What about you, Weston? Where can people find you?
I have a website at westonhasty.com is my landing page for all the things that I do. Primarily, I do gaming on my YouTube channel called Magic Man Mo. Check that stuff out. I've got another podcast that I do as well called A Hasty Podcast if you want more of me, but less of Alex for some reason.
Come on. That's not how this goes. You know the truth. Come on.
We all know this is the superior podcast. Over mine. Bottom tier, is like C tier, it's a hasty podcast. Like B tier, it's like Profoundish. Like A tier, it's like 2Ps podcast, super wholesome podcast. Go listen to that too.
Oh, stop. No, honestly, I really do love hasty podcast. A lot of people find your voice soothing, and you get a lot of that, and he's great at talking to himself.
This is true.
I mean that in a good way. So check that out. Check that out.
All right, thank you all so much for listening. If you enjoyed what you listened to, please give us a review, a like, a follow, a subscribe, all of the stuff.
5 stars on Apple, everything.
Answer the Q&A down below, whatever. Until next time, bye.
See ya. I don't like how I said that.
Bye!